Live from Kings Mountain High School, it's Mountaineer football tonight, the weekly coaches show where we discuss everything Mountaineer football. Brought to you by the Kings Mountain Touchdown Club and sponsored by ASI Incorporated, Harris Funeral Home, and the Kings Mountain Family YMCA. The Player of the Week is brought to you by Butler's Outdoor Design. And now your host, Craig Short, with head coach Strait Herron for Mountaineer football tonight.
Good evening, fans. Welcome to Mountaineer football tonight, our weekly coaches show. We're here with Coach Herron. We'll talk to him when we come back from the break. We'll discuss the game this past Friday against Ashbrook, and we will talk about the game coming up this week against the South Point Red Raiders. So stick around after the break, and we'll be back and take care of both of those pieces of business. See you soon.
Mountaineer football tonight is brought to you by the Kings Mountain Family YMCA, Harris Funeral Home, and ASI Incorporated.
Welcome back, fans. Coach, as always, welcome. Good to see you. Let's talk about the game. First of all, before we get going, I know everybody's going to want to know, so I'm going to go ahead and ask, how is Mr. Hopper?
He had I'm not going to get into it because, the HIPAA and stuff like that, but he's fine.
That's what I want you to say. I don't want you to.
He's fine.
Good.
And just talked with his mom a few minutes ago, and he'll be at school tomorrow, so I'll go track him down.
Good.
And check on him again. But he's doing fine.
Good, and that's all. Obviously, we're not going to discuss anything because we're not going to talk about it because I don't know it, and we may say something wrong. Mainly, I know the fans were just wanting to make sure things were okay.
Yeah.
Because it was obviously everybody was scared for a little bit there on Friday night. So, good. That's excellent news. I'll talk about, Coach. We took the opening kickoff. When we kicked off, or they kicked off to us, the opening drive, it was great. It was really balanced. We went down the field. Really, I thought the first several drives we did okay. We scored on the first one. The second one, I think it was that we missed the field goal, and then we made a stand defensively. But it looked like, I'm just going to let you talk about it. We got out of rhythm, it looked like a little bit, but I don't know if that's so much of just the pressure or we just whatever you felt like was happening. Yeah. Because I do think that especially in that first quarter, we were doing some things we wanted to do, looked like.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where you can go back and watch it on film, and it's never as good as it seems. It's never as bad as it seems when you watch it on film. But our defense came out and had a 3-and-out stop right off the bat. The offense went down and scored. Defense went back out, got 3-and-out. Offense went and drove back down. We missed a field goal, which is, it bounced off the uprights.
Yeah.
Then we gave up a touchdown, and then we fumbled the ball, and then it just kind of all fell apart. But when you go back and look at the game, we actually still did some good stuff. We still ran the ball a little bit, and in some spots, not a lot, but we threw the ball when we did what we practiced during the week. We threw the curl routes, we threw the out and ups on the shot throws. So we did some of the stuff when we did what we practiced in practice. We did pretty well. But when we started ad-libbing and we lost our composure, started doing stuff that we don't do at practice, then it kind of went downhill.
Yeah,
you can go out. You can watch the film. You can point out like, that's not right. That's not right. That's not right. So,
I thought KJ did a good job getting the ball out quickly and what you'd executed there early. And then like you said, there were some bright spots. Like I wanted to ask you, Coach, at the end of the first half, the big pass down to X in the end zone on a 4th and 20. going back and looking at it on film, I mean, it looked to us, because I was on that end of the stadium, it looked to us like it was a complete pass.
No, he didn't maintain the catch.
Okay.
It hit him right in the stomach, and then as soon as he hit the ground, the ball rolls out. And you can't. I wish he would have went up, used his hands, and went and got the ball, but you can't. You can't hold that against him. He's in it. I mean, it's happening in a split second. When he sees it and it's coming down, he's jumping, and he's, you have to remember these guys they're not playing on Sunday.
That's right.
These are high school players and just a sophomore, and he made a great effort, and it just didn't. If he holds on to it, so that would be a super great play.
I think even coming out in the second half, we had a good drive at the beginning, and then, like you said, as sometimes happens, things kind of snowball. And I'm definitely not going to make you relive it unless you just want to, but I'm not going to have you talk about it. I do think that there were things, like you said, you saw on film to validate it. There were some things that you did well. Obviously, there's things to build on, and sometimes games like this can help you down the road. We'll see if it happens, and I know you guys took that to heart and are working on continuing to work, because the good news is you're still playing. The other thing is you got to keep playing. You got to keep preparing.
Yeah, and right now the scary part is the mentality of players. It's just a strange feeling, that you get. You can, and I know we have practice today, and it could have something to do with us not being in school,
right?
And getting there, and then after the weekend, because this is a miserable weekend for me. I didn't even watch college football until the South Carolina game Saturday. I just didn't want to see it.
Yeah.
And so it was just miserable, and so practice wasn't great today, but it was good when we finished practice. One of the players asked me, said, "Coach, how do we get over this?" And so we talked for a while, and hopefully we'll see something a little different tomorrow. I've noticed this the last 2 years. About this time of year, our kids start to almost seem tired or I don't know, if tired or bored or whatever it is. So we cut practice time down. Starting this week, we won't go as long. We'll keep the varsity guys together and JV guys together, and shorten practice to try to make it where it's not so monotonous, and see if that helps. But we're going to try to do whatever we can to get them to play and compete, and just try to figure it out.
So, Coach, what are some things you want to, you don't have to give me 3 takeaways by any means unless you just want to, but I would like to get your take on, I know there are some pieces that you want to focus on moving forward that, build on the positives that you saw, and tweak some things I know that we could do better. I remember when they're toward the end of the game, well, not the end, but later in the game when they broke that run, we had Alamo tackle. Now he got him in. I mean, I was telling my wife, I said, this kid's a freshman. Yeah. And I said, he literally ran the guy down. And I mean, what a heck of a play. I hate it ended in the end zone, but I mean,
he tried. He did everything. And that's all you can ask out of our player. That's what we ask out of them every day. But you look at it that they have put together a really good team, and they had 34 seniors. And you look out there on our defense at one time, we had 3 freshmen in the secondary. Yeah. It's just it's a different game. People don't realize that when you can have a loaded team of seniors, that makes a huge difference. Mm-hmm. I mean, when you're playing 18-year-olds versus 15-year-olds, 3 years is a lot in football. Yes, it is. And so, and that is what it is. But the key is trying to keep your players from getting snatched, and it's not an easy task in today's world. Everybody's looking for something better, and they believe they can get it somewhere else. They're going to go, and it is what it is.
It is. You're right, and we go with what we got. But I still think there's a lot of good pieces, and I know you do too. And I'm not saying we're a young team. I'm not going to say that anymore. Nobody wants to hear that anymore. But I do. But I agree with you in that there is a huge advantage. I mean, if if you keep the core together that you've got now, think about where they'll be in 3 years compared to some others. So you're right. I mean,
and then you watch our middle school, but that's the key. I mean, that's the pressure, is trying to keep them all here. And, that's a part of football that's just not fun anymore.
No, it's not. So we don't get the win we thought we'd get against Ashbrook. It's okay. We're going to keep plugging. What we're going to do is we'll take a break, and I know we'll talk a little bit about Coach. We'll talk a little bit about South Point. We're playing them this coming week over at Lineberger Stadium, a place none of us like to go to. So after the break, we'll come back and we'll talk about the Red Raiders.
Mountaineer Football Tonight is brought to you by the Kings Mountain Family YMCA. Harris Funeral Home, and ASI Incorporated.
Welcome back, fans. Coach, let's talk about South Point. Well, I say that. Is there anything else you want to add about the game Friday?
No.
Okay. I wouldn't, to be honest with you, I didn't want to talk about it anymore, but if you wanted to talk, I was going to let you. Okay.
Nope.
Okay.
You did ask about the takeaways. I had 3 written down.
Do you want to go over them?
I don't want to go over them.
I like it.
I will say that one of the hardest things to do as a coach is with teenagers is trying to teach them how to keep composure.
Yes.
And I hadn't figured that one out yet. So anyway.
If you do, you can make a lot of money.
No doubt.
Let's talk about South Point. I think everybody that's a fan and has had any affiliation at any time playing them, we know what we're going to get. I mean, they do not really change a lot. I don't know, you can tell me, I mean, with Blee back and a tremendous player. I know last year, well, definitely the year before, they threw it a little more, but I think the bread and butter is still running through him and the fullback, and I mean they're still executing, I'm sure, on their offense. I mean, and he's a senior, so he's playing his 4th year now as a starter. So, is it what we are anticipating?
They're going to run the flex bone. They're going to do the same stuff they always done. They'll probably have something, a little tweak here or there to use a different formation, something that we haven't seen, which that's just smart football. But they're going to run the flex bone. They're going to dive, quarterback, pitch, and you got to get all 3 of them covered. They don't pitch the ball as much as the dive and the keep, but you have to honor that pitch anyway. And so still tough to stop. Real fast, quick hitting plays. They're hitting downhill on you right now, and all they're looking for is 3 yards.
Right.
They can get 3 yards, they're happy, and so it's the same old stuff. Tough to stop.
I said to you last year, and obviously you don't have to remember this. I wouldn't expect you to, but every time when we used to get ready to play them, whether when we were at East Gaston or here, I would always say, the type of offense they run, they don't mind to punt.
No.
They only need 3 yards. Their object is to just. They're trying to make you stop the phases of their offense, and if you do, they're okay with that. They'll just come back at you again.
Yeah.
And the other thing that's aggravating a lot of times about that offense, and I always knew when I was coaching defense, is relying on our guys to be disciplined enough to take care of every phase. And it's tough because you see that offense so infrequently, if that's a word.
Yeah.
It's just hard to prepare for it because it's coming.
Right.
But you see spread all the time. You even see some power formations, but you don't see that flex bone, wishbone type thing a lot.
Yeah, the flex bone and then the wing tee, when you'll run across several teams that'll do those, that have those types of offense, and they always make it difficult.
They do.
It's like Charlotte Catholic and what they do with their wing. It's hard to do because it's, number one, you don't see it very often. Number two, it's hard to simulate, and number three, it's just a good scheme, And so the hard part about it, if you study it, it's always somebody's got to be responsible for dive, somebody's got to be responsible for pitch, somebody's responsible for quarterback, somebody's responsible for pitch. But what they do is they change the way they block it in several different ways. And so the guy who's usually responsible for quarterback because they're blocking it different, now he's responsible for the dive. Well, he's got to know that as the play's happening. Oh, now I got to take the dive. Well, if he takes the dive, somebody that was usually supposed to be taking the pitch now has to take the quarterback. Well, then who's got the pitch? So somebody else is, so it really makes it difficult. It's hard. It's a tough offense to defend. So, Coach Carroll and them are going to do their best and get our guys lined up and in the right spots and try to get it all covered. Yeah,
big game, and then we'll, obviously we've got 3 left, and so you go on there, and then you finish up with 2 on here at home, but I'm not going to talk about them. I'm not looking ahead. The one Friday's big. I think that, obviously we know the boys know what's at stake, and you know what's at stake, and we just have to bounce back. Going back to that question, the young man asked you at practice, I mean, how'd the guys feel? Did they seem receptive to what you were saying to them?
Yeah, I think so. I think they understand, they understand what I was saying. I just don't know, it's scary to say, I just don't know if we don't have some guys that aren't bought in anymore.
Yeah.
And it's a trust factor, and I don't know if we've lost some trust or if there's things happening in the background that I'm not aware of, but that's something that they've got to work out.
Right.
It's just something that, and after we finished talking, the coaches walked off and I could hear them talking, and so we'll find out tomorrow. And there's a lot of stuff that's going on. We lost 2 receivers this week, so and they don't understand, like, when you lose 2 receivers, that it kind of changes your plan and stuff that you have going on. So it is what it is. We're going to try to coach them through it and hope that they buy in and go with it and go try to get a win.
That's right. So Friday night at Lineberger Stadium, 7:30 kickoff. Get there early because, as you know, parking can sometimes be tough at South Point, but there will be a huge crowd. They'll have a big crowd there, and so will we. So we'll look forward to seeing you there. So we'll let Coach get out of here on that, and when we come back, we'll talk about what's going on at Kings Mountain this week and finish up, and see you soon.
Mountaineer Football Tonight is brought to you by the Kings Mountain Family YMCA, Harris Funeral Home, and ASI Incorporated.
Welcome back, fans. We do not have a graphic this week for this week at Kings Mountain. I will tell you that if you'll go on the website, it's probably there. I hate that we don't have that. It has been crazy for everyone. We normally have it ahead of time. I'm sure Coach Cruz and maybe Coach Spearman they've been busy too, and today being a work day probably threw them off a little bit, but I know things will get updated on the website. There's still some things going on with soccer, golf, volleyball, and of course football. Just make sure you go and check that.
Middle school Tri-County Championship Monday or Wednesday.
The Tri-County Championship for the middle school is Wednesday at 5 o'clock here. We do know that. They will be playing Burns for the championship. That's a huge game. So please come out and support them and support those young men and those coaches for the hard work they've done. That's a big deal. So we're trying to win the Tri-County again, and playing a very good Burns team here on Thursday. On Wednesday. On Thursday, the JV will be here, kickoff at 7 o'clock against the Red Raiders, and then on Friday, as I said a moment ago, we go down to Belmont to Lineberger Stadium and take on the Red Raiders. A couple things to remind you of, like I say each week, if you are not already a member or a contributor to the Touchdown Club, please go to kmtouchdownclub.com and join. We would love to have your services and your resources, because everything that the KM Touchdown Club does goes for all things Kings Mountain. I also want to tell you that while you're on the YouTube channel, to like and subscribe to the channel. If you have not already, that helps us with viewership and moving down, or not moving down, but helping things get out to our fans. Speaking of that, we thank the Touchdown Club for helping us in getting that out. Touchdown Club will sponsor us on Friday night from Lineberger. We will have an audio broadcast only, no film, but we will be on the air with voice play-by-play there for the game. If you would like to tune in on the YouTube channel, you can hear us there. Final thing I want to say is I would like to ask you to continue to pray for Mr. Hopper and his family as he recovers completely, the good Lord willing, from his injury Friday night. The other nicks and bangs and bruises we have from last week's game, going to be another physical game this week. So pray for the safety and protection not only of our players but our coaches as well. I also want to ask you to lift up the Taylor family. Many of you probably saw Coach Jim Taylor, a legend in this county, longtime coach at Shelby High School. He went home to be with the Lord a few days ago, so pray for his family and the loss of Coach Taylor. A huge loss for the Cleveland County sports scene, but heaven got a good one. Coach Taylor was a great man. Had the honor of coaching against him a few times and learned a few things from him too, and had the opportunity to coach with his son Brad for a little bit. Great family. And then know his brother John quite well as well. So fans, thank you for tuning in this week. As I always tell you, make sure to tell the ones that are around you that you love them, hug them, thank the Lord for them, and take care of each other. I almost said ask these things in your name like I was praying, Drew. Maybe I should have prayed. Thank you for tuning in to us. We'll see you next week. Take care and be blessed.
Mountaineer Football Tonight was brought to you by the Kings Mountain Touchdown Club and sponsored by ASI Incorporated, Harris Funeral Home, and the Kings Mountain Family YMCA. The Player of the Week, brought to you by Butler's Outdoor Design. This has been a presentation of KMHS Sports.